Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. Today I have the pleasure to introduce you to AudioThing Type A. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Additionally, if you would like to participate in the giveaway, please do follow the instruction contained in the video description. Thank you very much. Okay, so as you can see, Type A on the screen, AUv3, we are inside the AUM. And of course, it comes in different formats, not only for iOS. Standard interface from AudioThing, so familiar controls. So what is it? It's an effect, a plugin based on a vintage tape recorder. Now, if you go to the hamburger menu here and you click on online menu, it's actually quite useful. It tells you a little bit about the effect. As I said, it's based on the vintage on a vintage tape encoder, and it was very much used originally for a noise reduction system, by where it would enhance particularly the vocal side or higher frequency at the encode stage. And then, of course, it will do also playback and attenuate during that playback, and therefore removing the noise. Now, the emulation is for the enhancer part or the encoding stage. There is actually quite a nice article which you can find at audiothing.net, where it explains, as you can see on the screen here, all about the Dolby A Trick technique based on the 1670s. In terms of the type of unit introduced here with the Dolby A301, then the Dolby 361. Okay, and you can find a lot of explanation here in terms of how it works. It's based on noise reduction system, as it says here, and therefore what is called a multi-band compounder or compressor and expander. So, but let's go back to AUM. There it is. And if you click here where it says AudioThing Limited, you have also this diagram which reminds you of the encoder part. You have 4 different bands here. The first one, which has also a filter, band number 2, which takes the input plus the difference from band 3 and band 1. And then band 3 has a high-pass filter as well as band 4, so they are overlapping there. The first one is 80 Hz, then the second one is effectively a band filter between 80 Hz and 3 kHz, and then this one acts around 3 kHz, and the band 4 at 9 kHz. So they are compressor, right? So, and there it is. So it's pretty straightforward. You have a meter here on the left-hand side. So at the moment, by the way, I have a Digistick here, but let's start perhaps with a piano sound. So let's load Piano Tech. We'll come back to Digistick in a moment. We'll link it to Polybud, and Polybud 2 here has just the same note with which is this C2, and then with random set maximum, so it will change those notes. So let's click play. So you can see the meter working, which can be set to output or also to monitor the input as well. Okay, now here you have setting. Here you can bypass the effect, which you can also do here as well, right? So you can bypass it there. Okay, and then this is your dry signal going directly, right? So if I press play here, and by the way, you can see the input that is not having any effect because it is directly passing the signal, right? The same, of course, on the output. Here you have your dry and wet mix, of course, which comes in effect, of course, when you have the effect enabled. And when you have the mix down to 0, of course, the input doesn't have effect either. But your output will do. Okay, so you set it now to maximum in terms of dry and effect to increase the output. At this point, you can enable the different bands here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can decide what is the attack and release from a compressor point of view for all the bands. And then with these knobs, you can set the volume for each of the individual bands. And that is where you can do clever things. You can, for example, disable the lower bands, particularly if you have vocal, and enhance the band 3 and 4, which is that particular Dolby A Trick technique that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video. As I said, you can introduce also some noise for that faithful reproduction. And so you can create a lot of different effects. As always, here you have factory preset, user presets, including also setting for that vocal trick, which has been used as abusing of that encoder part, that vintage tape recorder. You can save preset, delete, randomize, and then you can lock the parameter. Use your really parameters and settings from the AudioThing application. I really like you have oversampling here, which makes a different, really big difference, up to 16 times. So really, really great. So let's play with it. Okay, you can create some very interesting effects. Now let's use something like Peeper for more vocals type of sound. So link it again to Polybud. Let's click play. Now, just to give you an example, if we go to the vocal track, which this plugin is famous for in terms of reproducing that effect, you can see he has only the top bands 3 and 4, which are active, no bands 1 and 2. So you're practically enhancing the vocal. You have your direct in, but also the effect enable as well. And you can hear the difference. I'm going to enable and disable it. You have also an extreme version here, which effectively enables band number 2. So you get the idea in terms of how it can be used to enhance those vocals. So let's go back now to Digistick as well to hear how it sounds, for example, with drums as well, because that is the beauty really of using plugins. You can then use them not only for vocals or for what they were originally intended. You can use it with a lot of other different sources. Be careful with drums, it can get quite high. Let's add some hi-hats for a little bit more fun. Why not? Something quickly, like so. And of course, you have also all the different parameters which are exposed, as you can see. Therefore, you can control externally or the muting of each band here. 1 to 4, you can enable, disable direct. You have your compressor attack and release as well for all the different bands, and then the volume as well. And you can control the amount of noise, your input, mix, and your driver wet and output, and of course bypass it. Interesting, you also have here soft clipped as well. But as I mentioned, you have also oversampling, which is really good because particularly if you want to have more crystal clear, particularly on the vocals. And of course, we could test that on something else as well. So why not? We can go to something like so. Perfect. And let's be careful now with the output.
Oh, just waiting for a moment to breathe. I need a little time. I don't need to rush. Just waiting for a moment to breathe. Just give me some time. I need to be in control. Just waiting for the moment, moment, moment. Just waiting for the moment, moment, moment. Just waiting for a moment to breathe. Just give me some time. I need to be in control. Dance. Dance.
So you can hear it's really great with vocals. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and demonstration, and as always, see you next time. Bye.